FIFA is now canceling about 2,000 of its reserved hotel rooms in Philadelphia ahead of this summer's World Cup.
This summer, Paul Hayward in The Observer says a World Cup boycott has to be a live threat all the way up to next June.
As immigration tensions escalate, the former president of FIFA is supporting a boycott of the upcoming 2026 World Cup.
Red card for hotels expecting a big boost from this summer's World Cup. The U.S. is hosting the Men's World Cup for the first time since 1994, and the Bay Area is set to host several matches. But as Kenny Choi reports, the hype is not necessarily translating into more local hotel reservations.
With the international sporting event kicking off in a few weeks, hotels say bookings are lagging, and that could mean fewer international visitors spending money here in the Bay Area.
America thought the World Cup would bring packed hotels, huge crowds, and non-stop excitement. Instead, hotels are lowering prices just to fill rooms, and that is sending a terrible message to the world. A tournament meant to show strength is now exposing how badly trust in the country has fallen. Hotel prices in Dallas, Miami, and Atlanta have dropped 30% ahead of the 2026 World Cup. Host city hotel rates falling by approximately 1/3 from their earlier peak at a World Cup. The world's biggest sporting event is approaching. Yet, instead of sold-out hotels and soaring prices, cities are lowering rates to attract visitors. FIFA projected $30.5 billion in economic output for the United States from this tournament. That demand has not arrived. And the reason it has not arrived is not logistical. It is not a scheduling problem. It is a reputational collapse with a price tag attached. Tourism Economics Director Aaron Ryan told the Financial Times directly, there is concern about ticket prices, concern about border crossings, and concern about anti-American sentiment, all made worse by the Iran war. Those three concerns, stacked together, have produced a demand environment that the host cities budgeted around and are now watching misprojections in real time. The visa architecture is where the failure assembles most visibly. As of January 1st, 2026, the Trump administration expanded visa issuance suspensions to nationals from 39 countries. 4 of those countries, Haiti, Iran, Senegal, and Ivory Coast, have qualified teams competing in the tournament. Haiti qualified for the first time since 1974. Their fans cannot legally obtain the B2 tourist visa required to attend matches in the United States. The country's first World Cup qualification in half a century, and the fans who waited decades for this moment are legally barred from attending. For nationals from 50 additional countries, the situation is different but equally prohibitive in practice. Fans from these nations may be required to post a bond of up to $15,000 when applying for a US tourist visa. The bond is theoretically refundable if the visitor departs on schedule. But requiring working-class fans, the actual demographic that fills stadiums at every World Cup in every country that has ever hosted one, to front $15,000 before even purchasing flights, booking hotels, or buying match tickets functions as a de facto ban on their attendance. The cumulative cost calculation for an international fan, when you add visa bond to flights, accommodation, food, transit, and tickets, reaches a number that is prohibitive for most of the global fan base that makes a World Cup culturally significant, rather than merely a logistical exercise. People who have attempted entry report experiences that spread quickly through fan communities and produce cancellations from people who were never stopped at the border themselves. Immigration enforcement at consulates and ports of entry has intensified significantly, and fans from African and Latin American countries describe interrogation procedures that they characterize as humiliating. Fans who know people who were detained for minor violations are choosing not to risk the trip. That fear is not hypothetical. It is based on documented, reported experiences that circulate rapidly through the social networks that connect fan communities across borders. FIFA's own demand forecasts reflect the collapse. The organization canceled approximately 2,000 hotel room reservations in Philadelphia out of 10,000 originally blocked for the tournament. That is a 20% cancellation rate in a single major host city. FIFA also released 40% of its hotel blocks in Mexico City in early March and reduced reservations in Dallas and Arlington in early April. Arlington hosts 9 matches, the most of any host city in the tournament. These are not routine inventory adjustments. These are demand forecast revisions, reflecting the gap between projected international attendance and actual booking patterns. The transit pricing decisions by local governments compound the problem for fans who do commit to attending. Round-trip train tickets from New York's Penn Station to MetLife Stadium, an 18-mile journey that normally costs $12.90, will cost $150 during World Cup matches. An 11-fold markup on a standard commuter fare. Bus rides to the stadium cost $80. Parking passes at a nearby mall list at $225. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill attributed the transit surcharges to FIFA's refusal to cover an estimated $48 million in costs the state faces for running enhanced service, stating she would not make New Jersey commuters absorb that expense. Fair enough as a political position. Fans pay instead. Boston is charging $80 for round-trip train tickets to Gillette Stadium, 4 times the normal $20 game day fare. Los Angeles and Philadelphia have pledged to maintain standard transit fares. Kansas City is running $15 shuttles. The inconsistency across host cities creates a perception of chaotic and unpredictable price gouging that reinforces the international impression of a disorganized host rather than the welcoming, competent projection that successful World Cup hosting produces. FIFA's ticket pricing sits on top of the transit and accommodation costs. The cheapest first-round tickets start at $140. The U.S. opening match against Paraguay in Los Angeles carries prices as high as $2,735. The cheapest ticket for the final at MetLife Stadium is listed at $4,650, rising to $8,680 for the most expensive category. When those ticket prices are added to visa bonds, flights, hotels at inflated rates, and the transit markups described above, the cumulative cost of attending a single match as an international fan reaches levels that are effectively prohibitive for the middle-income fan base that drives World Cup attendance in every country where the tournament has been held. Professor Bob Heer of the University of North Texas, a sports management academic, noted that while domestic fans may still produce sellout crowds for Texas matches, international visitors are being deterred by anti-American sentiment linked to the administration's policies, including the Iran war and global trade disputes. That deterrence is not reversible by ticket discounting in the final weeks before kickoff. The fans who decided not to apply for visas made that decision months ago. The hotel cancellations that FIFA processed in March and April represent decisions made by international tour operators and fan groups who evaluated the travel environment and concluded that the risk and cost calculation did not support attendance. Scores of tickets remain available for numerous matches, according to Sports Illustrated, raising the prospect of sparsely attended games comparable to the poorly attended Club World Cup held in the United States last summer. The economic consequences for host cities that invested billions in infrastructure based on FIFA's projected $30.5 billion economic output are significant. The hotels that held room blocks and turned away other businesses are facing vacancy rates they did not budget for. The transit systems that expanded capacity for projected attendance are operating those expansions at lower than projected utilization, while charging individual passengers markup rates designed to recover costs from a volume that has not materialized. The soft power dimension of this failure is the one that extends beyond the tournament itself. Hosting a World Cup is historically one of the most effective projections of national competence, openness, and global engagement available to any country. It tells the international community that the host is welcoming, organized, capable of executing at massive scale, and interested in the world's presence within its borders. The 2026 World Cup is instead demonstrating that even with world-class stadium infrastructure and the institutional capacity to physically run a tournament of this size, political decisions can sabotage the international demand that gives the event its meaning. The structural concerns that are keeping international fans away, visa uncertainty, detention risk, political volatility, the Iran war's damage to America's relationship with large portions of the global fan base do not resolve when the tournament ends. They represent the current state of America's relationship with the international community, not a temporary scheduling inconvenience. The hospitality industry and tourism sector will absorb the immediate losses. The reputational impact on future international visitor demand for the United States is harder to quantify and slower to reverse. You can build world-class stadiums, If people fear detention at the border or resent the foreign policy of the country they are being asked to visit, those stadiums stay empty. The World Cup was supposed to welcome the world to America. The data from Lighthouse Intelligence, from FIFA's hotel block cancellations, and from the transit pricing decisions of host cities is telling a different story entirely.